Oh, the 90s, a beautiful time when video games were starting to grow up. We had Doom making people clutch their pearls, Mortal Kombat getting politicians all sweaty, and then before you knew it, Postal came in like a drunk guy crashing a wedding, flipping off the entire industry and pissing in the punch bowl. But what idiot comes up with this shit? Running with Scissors. It's a game studio that basically runs on spite and caffeine. They're like that kid in class who never did homework, never studied, and still somehow passed because they convinced their teacher they were an artist. There is this guy called Vince Desi. He used to work for Atari. But after years of working on family-friendly games, he realized something. What if we just stopped giving a fuck? So he did, and he made Postal. But don't worry, cause I already hear you ask, what the fuck is a Postal? Well, Postal is a game series that asks you one very simple question. What happens if we let players be a complete psychopath? And that's it. That's the goddamn game. No hero's journey, no deep lore, just pure unhinged insanity. Now obviously in the 90s this kind of blatant murder simulator wasn't exactly normal. Games were violent, absolutely, but still had some rules. Even Doom had the excuse of fighting demons. But Postal? Nah, screw that, fuck that, scrap that bullshit. Here's a gun, go nuts! And so, 1997, Postal 1 was unleashed onto the world, and the world lost its goddamn mind. The 90s moral panic, a magical time when people thought video games would turn their children into serial killers. Postal wasn't just violent, it was pointlessly, ridiculously violent. Released in 1997, Postal was a top-down shooter where you played as a dude who just completely snaps and starts gunning down everything in sight. That's the game. There's no explanation, there's no backstory, just a pissed off guy shooting civilians, cops, and even marching bands because he feels like it. Now, even though violence in video games wasn't really a new thing because it was already done by Doom, Quake, and Mortal Kombat, but Postal did it a little bit differently because the media lost its collective goddamn mind. Politicians were foaming out of their mouths, claiming that Postal was the worst thing to ever happen to humanity. Running with Scissors responded in the most Postal way possible, by laughing their asses off and leaning into the controversy. Now, even though this is all very shits and giggles, was Postal actually any good? Well, kinda. Postal 1 was fun in a psychotic way, but it was also clunky as hell. The controls felt like they were designed by a drunk guy, the AI was dumber than a bag of rocks, and sometimes the game just crashed for no reason. But I gotta be real. No one played Postal for the tight gameplay. They played it because it was fucked up. Nobody wanted them to play it. If you were a teenager in the 90s, playing Postal felt illegal. It was one of the games you hid from your parents like it was an actual crime. I did not experience that. And that's why Postal 1 became a cult classic, not because it was the best game, but because it was the first to completely give the middle finger to the gaming norms. Violence equals fun. And Postal 1 was of course a success, so yeah, they didn't stop there. Postal 2 was a chaotic comedy sandbox where the joke was society itself. This wasn't just a better game. This was the game that turned Postal into a legendary game. Running with Scissors ditched the top-down shooter format and went full-on first-person open-world insanity. And this time, there was a plot. There was kind of a plot. There's still the Postal dude. You live in a trailer in the middle of a redneck hell in Arizona. You have a wife who sounds like she eats cigarettes for breakfast. And your main objective? Run errands. And the first mission of the game is get milk. That's it. That's your first mission. But why is this controversial? Well, because the game doesn't tell you how to play. You could just buy the milk like a normal person. Or, and that's where Postal's secret sauce comes in. It never forces you to be violent, but it does allow you to be violent. And that's the beauty of Postal. Because there's a whole lot of fucking options to use to become a very violent person in this game. Postal 2 became absolute bullshit. They got so fucking creative you could use cats as silencers. What the fuck, this game was breaking people. You could set people on fire, watch them run into other people like flaming bowling pins. You could chop off NPCs' heads and kick them across the town like a goddamn soccer ball. You could piss on fucking anything. This is like the rulebook of video games. There is no law. Make your own. But I see you wondering, How the fuck is this legal? Once again, the media lost its goddamn mind. Fox News called it the most violent game ever made. Politicians tried to ban it. Retailers refused to sell it. And what was their response? They just laughed their asses off. They couldn't care less. They made it even worse. See, Postal 2 was not just offensive, it was stupidly fun. It wasn't just about violence, it was about finding the dumbest, most creative way to break the game. That's why Postal 2 became a cult classic. People modded the hell out of it. It got fan expansions, HD remakes, and even Steam Workshop support decades later. People are still playing Postal 2 to this day. This game refuses to die. But you know what did die? The Postal franchise. So, well, not completely, but for its time at least it did. They made a very, very, very bad decision. They made Postal 3. This game was even so bad that the developers disowned it. Here's the thing about Postal 3. It just shouldn't exist. Like, genuinely, it's the video game equivalent of stepping in dog shit and realizing it's also on fire. And if Postal 2 was a beautiful disaster, Postal 3 is just a disaster. But let me back off for a minute, because how did this exactly happen? Well, they let the wrong people cook up this game. After Postal 2 became a cult hit, Running with Scissors thought, let's make another one. Of course they would make another one. He loved money. Everybody loves money. But that's where things immediately went to absolute hell. They didn't make the game themselves. Nope, they outsourced it to a random Russian studio. What the fuck? Akela was best known for, Pirates of the Caribbean 2003. Oh, that's a horrible game. Disciples 3? What the fuck is this? I know they're gonna ruin Postal. I mean, theoretically, Running with Scissors ruined it because they gave it up to this stupid-ass Russian studio, but... well, they're still fucking it up, aren't they? I mean, it was just the second you booted up Postal 3, and you already felt something was wrong. The game isn't open world anymore? What? The controls are stiff as hell, and the Postal dude sounds way off. They replaced him with some guy who sounds like he's reading from a dollar store Duke Nukem script.
Badger, 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 mushroom, mushroom. Aw, he likes you. He's not rabid, I swear. Okay, he's rabid. Don't worry, he won't bite. Okay, that's a lie. Say hello to Mr. Badger Saw. Geez, you'd think...
what the fuck is this? And that's just the intro. Then you actually start playing the fucking game. And oh my god, the game plays like it just woke up from a coma. The combat is awful. The gunplay is some of the worst ever put in an FPS. And the AI, it's just brain dead zombies. This is just wow. And where the hell is the chaos? Remember how Postal 2 was a sandbox of stupidity? Well, Postal 3 doesn't have any of that. Instead, the game forces you into boring linear missions with janky quick time events and barely functional AI. They even remove some of the best parts of Postal 2, which is seriously everything. No open world, no stupid unpredictable NPC reactions, and no mods. Fuck this shit. And instead, the game forces you into bad jokes, painful cutscenes, and forced morality choices. Yeah, you heard me right. Morality choices. This game thought it was being edgy, but it ended up being the most embarrassing shit ever made. This game isn't just bad, it's barely functional. The game crashes constantly, NPCs get stuck indoors, but you gotta look at the bright side. It's a pretty funny game, because the developers hate it themselves. Yeah, we don't even claim this one is what they said. Running with Scissors publicly disowned Postal 3. They even told players to just pirate Postal 2 instead. Yes, they told you to just pirate Postal 2 instead. I love these guys. I am dead serious. These guys are amazing. Okay, so now after Postal 3 shed the entire bed, set it on fire, and then pissed on the ashes, Running with Scissors had to come with a plan. Postal 4, I mean, add just another number to it. Why the fuck not? No Regrets was born. Regrets. They had to mean to do that, right? Come on, you can't misspell the fucking title. Postal 4 is a direct sequel to Postal 2, meaning we're pretending 3 just never happened. Like your ex who got into crypto and then tried to sell you monkey JPEGs. We do not acknowledge their existence. Open world stupidity, vicious NPCs that hate you for existing, Rick Hunter voicing Postal Dude again, weapons that should not legally exist, and piss. A lot of fucking pissing. But, and there's always a but, Postal 4 came out in early access in 2019, and it stayed there for a very, very long time. This thing launched in chunks, like a weird greasy meatloaf. Day 1, you could only play on Monday. They added new days like it was a fucking DLC for the calendar. It was janky, it was buggy, but holy crap did it have a soul. Like a broken animatronic bear that still kind of dances if you kick it the right way. And Postal 4 never lied about what it truly was. The dev said, yeah, it's a mess, but it's our mess, and honestly, that's kinda sweet. But what do you do in Postal 4? Whatever the fuck you want, just like Postal 2, they did everything perfectly again. Want to deliver packages for a knockoff Amazon that actively wants people to die? That's Tuesday's questline, bro. It's the kind of game where no mission is normal and everything is either insane, a threat, or Gary Coleman. The dialogue unfiltered, the jokes borderline illegal, the tone like if your drunk uncle directed a Tarantino movie. But is he even actually any good? Well, kind of. It kind of depends. Listen, Postal 4 is not a polished game. It still has bugs, crashes, rats the size of a horse, and whoa, I don't care. It's fun. It's dumb. It's gross. It's exactly what Postal was supposed to be. It was made by fans, for fans, with middle fingers pointed in every single direction. So what's the future for Postal, huh? Well, there's even Postal Brain Damage, a spin-off boomer shooter that actually has shockingly good reviews. They're keeping Postal alive with merge, updates, and good old-fashioned violence. Now let's be real. The world will always need a game like Postal. One that doesn't care, one that exists to piss off everyone equally. One where you can solve traffic problems with a fucking shovel. Postal is stupid, it's vile, it's offensive, it's hilarious, and after all these years, it's still standing. Like most of its players. So cheers to Postal, the only franchise that said we're not trying to be like anyone else. We're trying to be the thing your mom warned you about. The end. Or is it just Monday again?